welcome to another class. Title of the class, Avert the Danger That Has Not Yet Arisen. Today I'll be talking about Right Practice 02. Millennia ago, long time ago, a teacher of religious law asked Jesus, "My Lord, of all the commandments, which is the greatest?" And what did Jesus say? What he said was to love the Lord our God with all our heart, all our soul, all our mind, and all our strength. That's the greatest commandment. We are familiar with loving with our heart. Who says to a loved one, "I love you with all my mind"? So what did Jesus mean when he said we need to love God with all our mind? What did he imply? Let's take a look. The mind in love with God, or universal forces, life in its fullness, whichever way you want to term it. Yeah? The mind in love with God is infinitely inspired and therefore satisfied and pleased with the divinity that sparkles in all things. Being deeply satisfied, it is fully accepting of God's mysterious ways, infinitely mysterious ways. Even though what we witness, what we experience, may not always be pleasing to our limited understanding of the way things work. Yeah? Mind in love with God, fully accepting of God's mysterious ways. The wars, the abuse, the poverty, the exploitation, the destruction of the planet, all the crazy things going on in the world that we witness or experience, fully accepting. No railing against the God. How can you do this? Just think. When someone becomes wise through deep insight into the true nature of reality, do they become depressed? Are they bitter? Do they go on rallies and strikes? They're at peace with the world. Those who are wise, deeply wise into the true nature of reality, they are at peace with themselves and the world around them, fully accepting of life's mysterious ways. Yeah? When we are not accepting, it means we are not seeing correctly. So, a mind in love with God, deeply in love with God, expands. Yeah? It expands its ability, its range of thinking and behavior. Expands incredibly because it is in tune with life. Yeah? Being in tune with life is able to draw its power, universal power, for achieving miracles. A mind in love with God expands infinitely in its range of thought and action, for it's able to draw from universal forces the power it needs for crafting miracles. When we are not in tune with God, life is a bit difficult. So, it is when we learn to love God with every cell of our being, that's when we realize what true nurturing actually means. We are nurtured immeasurably when we love God with every cell of our being. But when our love is measured, erratic, or non existent, divine grace is out of our reach because we're not on the wavelength to receive it. Yeah, that's when life becomes struggle, turbulent. So, what stops us from receiving divine grace is our reluctance to love ourselves and the world around us in the way we ought to, expansively. Why are we so reluctant? What stops us from loving ourselves and the world around us expansively? False views. We continue to measure ourselves in relation to our past accomplishments. And often we are not pleased with ourselves. We could have done better. Yeah? We continue with our intellect and emotions to measure our worth on the basis of our accomplishments. Not the best way. When our focus is misdirected, it's very difficult for us to see the vast potential right here and now in front of us for what we may yet become. For what we may yet become. Can't see it because we are measuring wrongly. No divine grace. So, to correct this situation is absolutely important for us to learn to shower ourselves, bathe ourselves, and the world around us with acts of loving kindness. Every single day, acts of loving kindness that reflect our nobility. Because when we do that, we create positive outcomes in our life and in the lives of those around us. Seeing the positive outcomes in our life and the world around us roots us in an unshakable confidence in our ability to rise above everything that distresses us. Everything that locks us, keeps us away from crafting a spectacular life. Without that confidence, we don't reach towards an exceptional life. We need that confidence. That confidence comes from learning to love deeply. All our heart, all our soul, all our mind, and all our strength with every cell of our being. Let's see what this means. Let's see how important this confidence really is, which most people lack. And therefore they live diminished lives. Madame Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland in 1867. At a time and in a country where free thinking was looked upon with suspicion and often punishment, especially for young women, restricting. And yet, regardless of the risk involved, the great risk involved, Marie and her sister, Bronya, joined the secret floating university with some other young women, all keen to learn and grow into a better version of themselves, risking everything for knowledge. Why was it called the floating university? Because they could not be in any one place in case the cops found out their location. Yeah? They had to be moving, constantly moving, avoiding suspicion, avoiding being found out. Floating university. There she learned sociology, natural history, anatomy, and other subjects, along with all those other young women. When they were in the university during session time, if there was any strange noise outside, everybody trembled. Oh my God, the cops are here. They trembled. They were scared out of their wits because had they been found out, it would have meant imprisonment for all of them. Imprisonment. Can you imagine living in that kind of oppressive reality? And yet they were all willing to risk their well-being, their freedom for knowledge. Do you have that kind of commitment? Really? Anyway, Marie's commitment to being wise continued into her adult life. And then in France, she was deeply committed to being wiser and wiser every day, studying under extremely frugal conditions. Bread and butter and tea heated on an alcohol stove. Her only furnishings: table, chair, bed, and a trunk in which she had some threadbare clothes. It was only through frugality that she was able to put herself through school to learn what she was passionate to learn about. And her efforts were applauded when she won the Nobel Prize for her discovery of radium. Marie Curie. Read her autobiography or biography. It's fascinating stuff. A young woman born at a time and in a country that was so oppressive, and yet she had the confidence within her to do what was required. How many people have that kind of confidence? The genuinely confident, please understand, the genuinely confident do not will it. It cannot be willed. Yeah? They draw it out. They draw out that confidence from the circumstances they place themselves in. What does this mean? Unless we're ready to leap into the playing field, leap into the fray, the confidence does not arise. It cannot arise in conjecture, thinking about doing something. You have to get into the doing of it. Yeah? We have to place ourselves in difficult scenarios, because only then do our strengths emerge, not in ease and quiet. So this kind of confidence of the genuinely confident beings is unflinching, unhesitating, unwavering, solid, rock solid confidence. It acquires these staunch qualities when our actions do not flow from us. It acquires these powerful, staunch qualities when our actions flow through us. What does that mean? Not from us, through us. It's when we have tapped into universal forces love the good Lord with all our mind, that the good Lord flows through us. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, butter, and cheese. You know that prayer. Yeah? Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done. And that's what it's about, not my will. We have to flow according to how life wants us to be and to do. We have to become a conduit through which heaven flows to earth. That's right living. That's right practice. Are you understanding? The genuinely confident cannot will it. No can will it. We draw it out from the circumstances we place ourselves in. And what draws us to these circumstances? Life, God. Hey, Behram, when you go back to India, you will not work. You will let life support you. I was scared out of my wits. I was drawn back to India to trust life in its fullness. And it supported me. Yeah, the confidence arose. Although I was scared out of my wits, the courage was right next to that fear. Yep, same with Sister Marie. She was scared. I would be scared. Imprisonment? In those days? But the good Lord was flowing through her. The good Lord wanted to bring radium into human consciousness. She was a conduit through which heaven flowed to earth. That's right living. That's right practice. So what is this all pointing to? Well, again, let's look at the Bible. When it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else shall be added unto you. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else shall be added unto you. Yeah? Top priority, to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Magical things start to happen. We are able to weave miracles that way. So once we experience the profound joy of being in flow with life, in flow with God, it's impossible for us to ever think of turning from this profound way of living into a lesser form of existence. No can do. No birthdays anymore. But when we are not attuned to these spiritual forces, when we are attuned only to our intellect and emotions, not to spiritual forces, universal forces, we acquire an illness, malignant illness, mental affliction that is as disfiguring as rickets and totally incapable of ever witnessing the glory of creation. What an incredible way to live. Painful way. You know what rickets is? It affects kids. Brittle bones break easily. because of a vitamin D deficiency. In adults, it's termed as osteoporosis, brittle bones. Mental condition that creates this, not feeling supported. Not feeling supported by family, by friends, by society, by our own qualities. Not feeling supported, no support. The skeleton gives us the support. Yeah? Vitamin D deficiency. This mental affliction is a vitamin D deficiency, like rickets. What D? Divinity deficiency. We're not in touch with our divinity. That creates all kinds of difficulties in our lives. Once again, when we are not attuned to universal forces, we acquire a mental affliction, a sad state of affairs, as disfiguring as rickets, and we are unable to ever witness the glory of creation. This vitamin divinity deficiency has to be corrected. We have to avert the danger that has not yet arisen. Hopefully, it has not yet arisen. But when we are attuned, to these universal forces, is the best form of living there is, the most powerful way of living there is, and the most enjoyable. Why? Because it sparks mountain matching abilities within us. Mountain matching abilities to transcend whatever dark forces come our way. Yeah, whatever disturbs our equilibrium. We're no longer seduced by the devil's voice. No longer subscribing to untruth. Yeah? Mountain matching abilities to dispel all those weird frequencies that keep us locked in mediocre mode, while at the same time experiencing life at its best. That's the great news about being spiritually attuned. Yeah, no rickets, no mental affliction. I know so many people, quite a number of people, wealthy, intelligent, good looking, not like me. Yeah, wealthy, talented, intelligent, good families, everything worldly going for them. And yet they suffer from fear, doubts, insecurities, jealousies, resentments, and so on. All that wealth, all that talent, all that intelligence is of no use. Constant fear, doubt, insecurity, it's disfiguring. Early rebirths, hospital visits, constant hospital visits. Why? Too much reliance on intellect and emotions. No vitamin divinity anywhere. No vitamin D. Sad, tragic state of affairs. Believing in what is untrue and staunchly refusing to believe what is. These are the guys, when I talk about karma and rebirth, they say, I don't believe in that shit. So your beliefs are serving you? Really? Ah, okay. Then why is your medicine cabinet full to the brim? We live in the realm of the absurd. So that is why the wise tell us. They remind us. They caution us. They yell at us. Hey guys, unless you put in the time, energy, and attention to discovering what is profound within you, you will never rise above your painful affliction or a wasted life. Cannot do it. So when we neglect this most important task to discover the radiance that shines in us, our lives are filled with sorrow till the end of our days. Till the end of our days. Filled with sorrow. It's tragic. At some point, I'll possibly write a book about all those beings who were so close to making the right choice, but didn't make it and suffered tragic consequences. Tragic. So, what are these wise people throughout history? What have they been pointing at? The imperative, non-negotiable need for crafting an exemplary character that is intuitively inclined towards awakening. We don't need character traits that incline us towards being successful in the world, full stop. We need a character that is deeply inclined towards spiritual clarity. Because in the absence of spiritual clarity, worldly success is of very little use. Very little use. I've talked about this in almost every class. That stop focusing just on worldly success. It's an invitation for disaster. There has to be spiritual clarity. So, how do we cultivate this character? What's required? We need to build the right habits, first of all. Most important, we have to build the right habits by engaging in just enough discipline to root ourselves in those habits. Because once those habits take root, we're rocking. Just enough discipline to root ourselves in those habits. I'll be talking about them soon. Stay tuned. Yeah? Once doing the hard stuff becomes a habit. The habit makes the hard stuff easy. Understand this rule. Once doing the hard stuff becomes a habit, the habit makes the hard stuff easy. But first, we need the discipline to get into that habit. Yep. Okay. The right character skills that arise from the right habits do more than help us perform at our peak. They propel us to greater peaks, higher peaks, especially peaks of awareness, greater awareness. That's what it's about. Dim character traits, no awareness. Deep character traits, great awareness. Yeah. So through this awareness, what happens is through these character skills and this awareness is sparked, it boosts. Yeah. It boosts our capacity to prioritize our values over our impulses, our habitual impulses towards being mediocre, remaining in the ditch. Don't want to put in the effort, too much effort. Bag of chips, so much easier. Are you understanding, please? The right character skills do more than help us perform at our peak. Those skills take us to higher peaks of awareness, because it boosts our capacity to prioritize our values over our habitual impulses for shortcuts, mediocrity, and staying in the ditch. Hallelujah. So many friends tell me, Behram, I would come to your classes, but I just don't want to put in the effort. It's too much effort. I prefer my little bit of suffering. And then they cultivate all kinds of illnesses. And happy to pay all that money that they've saved to the doctors and the hospitals. Yeah, yeah. So tell me, would you select a heart surgeon to perform on you who was satisfied, who was really contented with simply doing an adequate job? Or would you select a heart surgeon with high standards who was dedicated to performing brilliantly? Adequate job or brilliantly? What would you select? How about a mechanic for your car? Would you select a fellow with the same sluggish mentality who is happy to do an adequate job on your car? Or would you prefer someone who was meticulous in servicing your car brilliantly? Would you select any professional who is content with doing an adequate job? Or would you select those who are dedicated to excellence? Do you select friends who are into mediocrity? Or do you select friends who have high aspirations? How about you? Are you living an adequate life? Or are you living a brilliant one? Which kind of destiny are you fashioning for yourself with your choices? Think about it. Are you living an average life or a spectacular one? Really? Spectacular? Think. Time's running out. Space shuttle coming. Next rebirth very close by on the horizon. All right. So now let's get into the nitty gritty. There are 3 habits imperative for us to cultivate if we're going to cultivate a supersonic character that is inclined towards awakening, rebirth after rebirth, no detours towards less worthy matters. Yeah, let's look at that. What would be these 3 habits? Any ideas? The first one, the first habit is to acquire a deep passion for learning how to sense, and how to do things differently, beautifully, brilliantly. Yeah? And the only way that we can learn to sense things with our intuition, not with these eyes or with these senses, but with our spiritual power. The only way we can train ourselves to sense reality in a way that is spectacular, do things in a way that is spectacular, is by letting go of old, burdensome, debilitating habits that have never served us. We have to let go. We have to empty the cup before we can fill it with fresh water. This cup has poison. Empty poison. Yeah. We have to let go of old, debilitating ways of doing things, sensing things. Intellect, emotions. No, no, no. Into the ditch. Intuition. Yes, yes. What's required for this sensing and doing of things correctly? Yes, yes. You have to let go of crap. What else? We have to let go of our tendency to practice the Dhamma in ease and comfort. Oh, ease when it's convenient. It's not happening, baby. It's not happening. We have to put ourselves through difficult scenarios. It is through trial and suffering, deep suffering, that our backbone is strengthened, our vision clarified, our determination inspired, and success achieved. Without it, coffee table practice, no practice. Cannot repeat this enough, and yet it doesn't sink in. How many of you have sought out teachers in your area or online to train with? Even though almost every class I talk about the importance of having a teacher, how many of you have come out of your complacent zones and sought out teachers in your area or online? They're available online. Yeah? To dedicate yourself to being guided and not the lone ranger mentality, because it will lead you into it will well, keep you in the ditch. Once again, to learn how to sense things deeply, to learn how to do things deeply, we need the right training. We cannot do it by ourselves. We cannot do it in ease and comfort. Cannot do it by watching videos and reading books. We need an accountability professional. Very, very important. Trial and suffering strengthens the backbone, clears the vision, boosts the determination, and we acquire the power to strike that ball way out of the ball game. Choo! Yeah. Success is achieved. You see, the thing is, we all seek inspiration. Everybody wants inspiration. Nobody likes to be bored. Not nice being bored. Our lives are not inspired. That's why Netflix has a grip on you. We live vicariously. Yeah? We're all looking for inspiration. People, things, we're looking for inspiration. But what's the truth about this inspiration that we're looking for? The truth is that it is inspiration we're looking for, not people or things. Because it is not in people or things. Even when we do marry that inspiring person, after a while we want someone else. Even after we buy or get that inspirational thing or that inspirational vacation, it fades. And we look for inspiration elsewhere. Yeah? Inspiration. We all seek inspiration. Life without inspiration, not worth living, basically. I'm quite sure that the majority of you know Annie's song. Do you know Annie's song by John Denver? You fill up my senses like a night in the forest. Yeah, beautiful song. Classic, ageless song, brilliant song. Annie's song, John Denver. Do you know what inspired it? Do you know the story behind the song? He was married to a woman called Annie Martel, Sister Annie. His deep love for her and his deep love for nature made him into a conduit for the good Lord to give him the song. Love, love. He was on a ski lift in Colorado somewhere, looking at the beauty around him. And with his deep love for Annie, the words just came to him. When he came out, when he went home, he bent the track in just 10 minutes. Brilliant song. Pretty much everybody knows it. Yeah? Fantastic song. For a woman that he absolutely adored. Love does wonders. But then, the sad part of the story is that his love for her lasted only 15 years. His success, name, fame, and so on destroyed the marriage. And he sought inspiration elsewhere and got married to some other woman. And that also ended after a while. Inspiration is not in people or things. So where is it? How do we keep our lives fresh and inspired? It's by learning to order our thoughts and emotions correctly. Remember, I spoke about order being heaven's first law? Order the mind correctly. Because inspiration is not in people or things. It is in the way we view and respond to people or things. Its power is in us. The inspiration is in us, not out there. It's what we put in there. That's what we're fascinated with, what we put over there. Then when it fades, because we're not looking at it correctly, we look for it elsewhere. So to learn how to order our mind correctly, we need training. Because when the mind is well ordered, we can sense things in the way that is absolutely magnificent. We see divinity everywhere, beauty everywhere. It just flows through us. This is inspiration. Many years ago, 1986, I was in Thailand. One of the monasteries I visited, I met the abbot, who was an incredibly beautiful looking man. And not just beautiful looking, he was literally shining due to his deep practice. Shining. When he smiled, Brilliant stuff. Yeah. I was there for just a few days. During one of my brief conversations with him over tea, a fly, few flies over there hanging out, fell into my cup. He noticed it, and he noticed my distaste for the fact that the fly was in my tea. Immediately, he leaned forward, fished it out with his finger before it got too hot inside, looked at it lovingly, stood up, went to the window, put it on the leaf of a branch of a little shrub that was outside, looked at it, came back satisfied. It's going to live. It's drying its wings. It'll live. What compassion! I would have just taken it out, just flicked it like this. Fly. For him, it was divinity. What a man. What an incredible human being he was. I will always remember his glow till the end of my days. Beautiful person. Inspiration is not in people or things. It is in the way we choose to view and to respond to things. We have the power, but we need to train this power. It requires deep guidance and deep practice. This is the first habit. Learning how, being passionate to know how to sense reality from the perspective of its divinity, not the surface appearances, not seeing trees and rocks and grass and people, seeing God everywhere. Seeing God everywhere. That's the practice. Second habit. The second very important habit is that if we're going to learn to sense and do things differently in a brilliant fashion, we have to be willing. We have to be courageous enough to plonk ourselves in life's playing field before we believe we are ready. Before lining up all the ducks, because by the time you line them up, half of them will be dead. Yeah? Get into life's playing field. That's how you learn. Get on the bicycle. That's how you find your balance. Get in the water. That's how you learn to swim. Yeah? Before you're ready. Think about it. If you're aiming to excel at anything, if you're taking on any new task, you will always be faced with uncertainty. There are no guarantees as to the outcome. No guarantees. You're always in the realm of uncertainty. But uncertainty is the realm of endless possibilities also. Yeah? So the thing is, when we get certain, certainty manifests all around us. Because there's a radiant power within us that if we only believe it to be possible, that we can make things happen, we have the faith in ourselves. If we only believe it to be possible, then that belief, that confidence, we draw out supporting conditions from all around us to validate our belief. If we believe it to be not possible, we also draw out from everything around us. Life will prove to us, yes, you're right, it's not possible. So which way would you like life to support you? To affirm your power or to affirm your powerlessness? It's all in the mind. Victorious warriors win the battle in their mind first, before going to war. Defeated warriors go to war first and then hope to win. And they rarely do. All in the mind first. The preparation is not a physical one. The preparation is always a psychological, spiritual one. Yeah? Do you think I was prepared to jump out of airplanes? 6 jumps. Each time I fainted, scared out of my wits. The most scariest thing. It was almost like, I don't know how to explain it even. But after going through that fear, when the chute opened automatically, it's a static line, it opens automatically, the joy of parachuting is phenomenal. Oh, phenomenal. I could never have experienced that joy if I hadn't put myself in that circumstance, which drew out my courage to actually jump out the door without being pushed out. Yeah? The fear, tremendous fear. But after the tremendous joy, we have to go through the fear. You think I was prepared to live in a cave? Where did I get the preparation from? Only by being in the cave and facing the fear did I learn. Did the hard stuff become easy? Yeah? Once doing the hard stuff becomes a habit, the habit makes the hard stuff easy. Do you think it was easy for me to live in the forests and jungles with wild animals running around? Scorpions, snakes, crazy people? Where did I get the preparation from? Only by putting myself in the playing field. Not thinking about it. Leaping into the fray. That's how you prepare yourself. Yeah? So to be exceptional, we have to do exceptional things. And the only way to do exceptional things is to be willing to risk everything, your life, everything, to see God, to connect with God. Measured practice, erratic practice, not useful. Yeah, you have to be willing to put your life on the line. Then things happen. Wild things happen. Second habit, get in there even before you believe you're ready. Stop catching those ducks and putting them in a row because most of them will be dead by the time you're ready. Third point, third habit. We have to be willing. Full on commitment, willing to make a lot more mistakes, lots more than most people make attempts. We have to be willing to make mistakes, to look foolish, to fail, to get hurt, to hurt other people, consciously, unconsciously. It's part of the ball game. Yeah, we have to be willing to make mistakes, plenty of mistakes, more than most people make attempts. Then something opens, not otherwise. Any examples? Do you believe that the Wright brothers, who invented the first powered flight, Do you think they put together that airplane after maybe a dozen attempts? Hundreds of attempts, tinkering this way, tinkering that way before they got it right. And even when they got it right, they were still tinkering to perfect it. How about Brother Edison, the fellow who invented the light bulb? How many attempts did he make? 100? 200? Thousands? And when asked, how do you feel about all those failures, buddy? What did he say? I didn't fail. I found so many hundreds and thousands of ways of how not to make a light bulb. Brilliant attitude. Yeah, the right attitude in place. We have to be willing to make lots more mistakes, lots more failures, go through all that crap than most people make attempts. Not going to get excellent. Wanting to do things perfectly in just a few attempts is not happening. When I came back to India in 1983, after graduating with a master's degree from CalArts in Los Angeles, September, October, I came back. January 84, out the door, looking for teachers. I explored so many places looking for teachers, made so many mistakes. This one didn't work, that one didn't work, that one didn't work. I was sick, I was exhausted. Didn't give up the search for good teachers, reliable teachers. January I started. April I found. Like totally sick and exhausted. But I found. Yeah, so many attempts. Cannot give up. When we believe it to be possible, life supports our belief, but it sometimes puts us through the grind before it reveals magnificence to us. Think of the Buddha. 6 years of intense practice that you cannot even imagine before he woke up. He didn't do it in his comfort of his castle. Nope. Tough practice is right practice. Easy, easy practice, no practice. Practice is not easy. Yeah, gaining traction in the practice is not easy. It's tough stuff. And because it's so tough, it's important for us to keep our sense of humor. It's important for us to take things lightly. Yeah, to order our mind so that it stays in positive states, regardless of the failures. It's no coincidence that in music, practice is termed as play. You don't practice music, you play music. Yeah? The elite musicians, those cream of the crop musicians, are not obsessive compulsive people. They have this harmonious passion towards what they do. Harmonious passion means balanced passion. They enjoy the process. They love the process of perfecting themselves. They're not preoccupied with creating specific outcomes. That's not their preoccupation. Their full focus is on just playing beautifully. That's how they become great. We play tennis, we play golf, we play this and we play that. Get serious in any game, and you restrict your forces to create spectacular outcomes. Play, lightness, that's what's required. 3 habits we have to be totally eager, passionate about, learning new ways of sensing and doing things. that brings out our best. But we have to let go of habits that are blocking us. Yeah, the habit to remain in the ditch. Just get out of that. Secondly, we have to jump into life's playing field. Nose dive, swan dive into life's playing field or playing swimming pool. Before we believe we're ready, we learn hands-on experience, not thinking, doing. And we have to be willing to make plenty of mistakes. We are willing to get lost, willing to get ill, willing. All this points to is the fact that if we wish to accelerate our growth and learning, we have to seek, embrace, and amplify discomfort. Got that? To accelerate our growth in the practice, we have to be willing to seek, embrace, and amplify discomfort. Why? Why? Because discomfort is the portal, the means, the inspiration behind all forms of progress. It unlocks the hidden potential in all forms of progress. Discomfort. Oh, yummy, yummy. What does that mean? Throughout history, yeah, since the time of Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, well, okay, long ago, throughout history, we have created all kinds of ways in which to let go of our discomfort. Yeah, all the beautiful things we've created. Beautiful homes, beautiful clothes, beautiful roads, beautiful appliances, all inspired by discomfort. We didn't like to do it this way, so we check how to do it better. Discomfort has been the inspiration behind all forms of progress, not comfort. You guys watching the video are watching it because you're obviously experiencing a little discomfort with your life and you want to do something about it, even though you may not be doing much about it. Yeah, discomfort is what brings people to the teachings. But discomfort is also what keeps people in the ditch. They don't want to come out of their complacent zones. The comfort stops them. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And yet it is discomfort that leads to progress. Paradox. So, summoning the nerve to seek, embrace, and amplify discomfort is a character skill. That's the character skill the wise people are asking us to cultivate. Yeah? Because it is an extremely potent form of determination that takes us to the horizon and beyond. No stopping, no giving up. We need that potent form of determination, which is also one of the perfections we talked about, to take us to the horizon and beyond. Peaks higher peaks of awareness. No determination, no practice. The universe, please understand, is like we are, open ended. The universe is just as we are, open ended. There are no limits, none, to what we can achieve in this very life. In this very life, no limits except the ones we place on ourselves. To remove those limits is what the Dharma practice is all about. To remove those self-imposed limits, to identify them and to remove them. Only then we can move forward in the practice. Fishermen, sushi, yeah? Fishermen know that the sea is dangerous. They also know that those storms which arise on the deep blue, they can be fearsome. Fearsome. 30-foot waves. Yeah. But they've never allowed this danger to keep them ashore. Never, never. They know of the danger. Sea is dangerous. Storms are dangerous. But they've never allowed this danger to keep them ashore. So when the night falls and the storm comes, what's worse? The danger itself or the fear of danger and hungry bellies to feed by remaining ashore? What's worse? What's worse? Seizing all kinds of challenges that promote our well-being, even though we have to face our fears and doubts, or to remain in our complacent zones in full-blown locust mode, taking but not giving. What is worse? Embracing challenges that bring out our best, even though we have to face our fears, or living a satisfied, complacent life, not wanting to ruffle anything. What's worse? Is that really the way to live? In locust mode? It's always best to face the reality of the danger itself. Always best by walking in faith, not by sight, because our senses are constantly deceiving us. Faith, love of God, mind in love with God, is able to achieve miracles. So our primary task before the danger comes to zap us, our primary task is to journey deeper and deeper within ourselves and the outer world around us. Journey deep into it till we are able to blend the two into one. That's the task, to be one with the universe. No more separation. No more believing that you are a localized entity. Waking up. Wakey, wakey. Avert the danger that has not yet arisen, that mental affliction as disfiguring as rickets, which comes from not being attuned to life. Avert it. You don't want regrets when space shuttle coming to pick you up for next rebirth. Don't want the regrets and remorse. Bring out that best. The genuinely confident do not will it. They draw out that confidence from the circumstances they place themselves in. Place yourself in those circumstances which bring out your best. Coffee table practice is no practice. Seek out the teachers and the training required to wake up. Easy mode, wasted life. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more. Hallelujah.